Greetings, dear suckers. My name's Joe Bob, and I'm very peeved. In the last few episodes, we dealt with all the stuff around the church and Fortress accident and all that, and we got filthy rich. Time to actually, get back to solving the case. To be fair, it's not like we were just, blowing it off. We were actually stuck, but never mind. The glass is covered with grime and dust. You can barely see out. All that. What the heck is... Postcard. Martinez 98. Are these postcards going to be important in some way? Keep getting them and they... Oh. Again, I forgot to actually change back. This looks awful. There we go. Much better. A faded picture postcard from the end of the last century shows Martinez as it was before the revolution. It's the height of summer. Rue de Saint-Ghislain is teeming with parasol-wielding bourgeoisie, and wild pines flags buttress the walkway. Nothing is written on the back. Alright. This is slightly ominous sound effects. Odd place for the little thing to be. This collapse nearly sealed the basement. One can barely squeeze by. Okay, for a second I was like, did it collapse behind me? No. No. That would be odd. Antiquated office furniture. Last century, maybe? Brought down and forgotten so long ago. Like me. This overturned table is covered in orange mildew, crawling with something. Oh! Hi, Kim. Fancy meeting you around here. Well, theoretically.
Two rusty metal plates that slide apart form a crude door. It's been here under the boardwalk for a while.
Now, theoretically, I could leave him out here while I do whatever's in there, but nah. Who's there?
What do you mean, who's there? It's me, Kim. Stop playing around and help me get the door open.
You're no fun. Here's Harry.
The doors seem to be on rails, but they've gotten jammed. You grab a side and put some strength into prying it open. With the help of your partner, the two metal panels slide open with a creak.
Wow, Kim. We opened that with our minds. I mean, there was no animation. And we've already established that when there's no animation for me climbing a ladder, clearly I was actually teleporting, so... yeah. That's the explanation for all these things where it says we're doing things without there actually being an animation for it. We did it with our mind. Anyway.
Huh. I hope no one dangerous heard that.
You ready?
Yes. Time to investigate these passages. Let's move quietly and not make more sound.
I'm afraid someone dangerous did hear that sound. Two dangerous people. Us. Alright. Old file folders in the cart. Documents silvery with mold. A series of thick, dusty panes of glass. Why are you zooming in over there? Okay. Inter-easelary suit jacket. Oh. Did it go with my inter-easelary trousers? Yeah. These ones don't increase kingdom of conscience, whatever the fuck that is. +1 suggestion. Dressed for the occasion. A muted brown suit jacket, perfect for a day at the office or an evening at a cafe. The red rose at the bottom of the left breast pocket is slowly wilting. I'm surprised it still hasn't wilted. This must have been taken here recently then. I mean, yeah, it's slowly wilting, but not that slowly. Oh, I'll keep it in mind. In the beam of the flashlight, a crevice in the wall. Ooh. Nearly missed this one. Stale fabric, smell, and dust. No one slept here in months. Maybe years. Speaking of which, I should really put my next point into perception. I don't like having it at 7. These pots and plates are full of dust and spider webs. Revolutionary propaganda on the bunk bed. Ancient flyers and brochures. The same slit window you saw from the outside. Revolutionary's hat. +1 to Mazovian socioeconomics. Okay, you're taking the piss now, aren't you? Friendly neighborhood communard. These uncolored bonuses like these, they're not real skills or stats or anything, are they? Kim, get out of my crotch. They're just fucking with me, aren't they? An Ushenka with the Mazovian logo, a pair of deer antlers on its silvery white front. Your ears feel cuddled and cared for by the state. Yeah, I'll bet they do. Oop. Is that me? No, wait, no.
Could this have been the killer's hideout? And this narrow window, the point of origin of the shot that killed the mercenary?
Could it? That feels like a very strange angle, but the guy did say that communism killed him. And love did him in. I think we've possibly figured out that part anyway. Maybe. Unless it wasn't Clausier's love that did him in. Maybe it was someone else's love for Clausier. Like jealousy or whatever. But then why would... Anyway. Peek out.
In the darkness, you can barely make out the falling snow. It settles, making the night still quieter.
Could the killer have used this as a hideout?
It's a great place to hide, certainly. But there hasn't been anyone here in ages.
Yeah, probably. Look at that layer of dust over everything. Assuming that's not just the art style. Kim, I can't see the whirling in rags. The shot didn't come from here.
Indeed. No one could get a clear view. Well, at least we've been thorough. I like thorough.
I'll bet you do.
The lieutenant's voice betrays a slight disappointment, which he glosses over by reasserting control.
Understandable. Alright. That's Boardwalk down, apparently. Just the island and Land's End, then. That's 5% and 3%, respectively. I'm still betting on the island, by the way.
A mustachioed and mutton-chopped man, amateurishly depicted, gazes at you with sad eyes. A plaque reads, K. Mazov. There is a spiderweb in the lower left corner of the portrait. Years' worth of dust is shaken off. The full head of hair, matched by an ample moustache and sideburns, look a bit silly. Someone crouches, heels digging into wet sand. Hands sweep across the sand, grains sticking to the frayed skin of the fingertips. An old man sits on a slab of concrete and taps his fingers against the glass of a scope. You shudder.
Pardon me? This... Maybe this was the hideout of the shooter. It just isn't anymore and hasn't been for a long time. That... wet sand. At 5%, it's looking awfully... well. It's Krasmazov! What a troublemaker he was! That's, a way to put it.
Yes. Looks like some latter-day radicals were hiding out here. They left a long time ago.
A long time ago? How long?
Half a century? This was probably part of the network of defense posts the communards built against the amphibious landing.
He looks around.
I think the purpose of this bunker was to produce propaganda. It would have had radio equipment back then, but that's all been looted.
That's an interesting thought. Maybe the shooter was one of these latter-day radicals. Perhaps it even wasn't looted. Perhaps it was taken with him. Just a thought. What's with all these secret weapons caches and secret bunkers? What do you think they were for?
We have found a lot of those lately. I guess what most people think of as history tends to linger in rundown neighborhoods. Martinez being what it is, no one has gone through the trouble of cleaning out the old bunkers.
Maybe I should move in here. Seems cozy.
I won't stand in your way, but only after we're through with this case.
Fair enough. Could it be connected to the Mazov bust we found in the students' room? Ideologically, sure.
Millions of depictions of Mazov have been produced. They're not all connected. Besides, that looked like some student. The youths always go for this kind of stuff.
Indeed. There's a lot of reasons why this sort of crap appeals to the youth. Perhaps it's not so ideologically linked. There's a lot of different kinds of communism. Basically one for every communist. Could someone have stopped through here recently? Us.
You mean like Ruby? No, I think we've stumbled on a piece of history.
He looks at the dust. Alright, let's go. Unless something's gonna chime in as I leave. No. Footprints in the sand. One of the souls appears more worn than the other. Well, that's suggestive. Let's go the other way first. Something in the air. An unnatural buzzing. The tunnel collapsed. You'll have to find another way around. I guess I can't go. Well, I guess I have no other choice then. Alright. Short diversion. It's getting louder. The buzzing sound. What is that? Oh.
There it is again, like a swarm of hornets buzzing under your scalp. A strange tingling you can almost smell.
Smell? You mean like... electricity, maybe? You can sort of smell that. Lieutenant, do you feel something?
No. What do you mean?
A pain. A strange tingling.
I don't feel it, but...
He looks ahead, beyond the arch.
We should still be careful. There were footprints back there, and I'm pretty sure they were fresh.
Hold on, you really don't feel anything?
No, but you are the sensitive one.
I'll assume that wasn't a crack. I saw them too. Footprints with the right sole worn smooth.
Looks like our suspect. If she's in here, we need to plan our next step carefully.
What do you mean? What do you think he means?
Once we detain a credible suspect, who knows what the Union and the Wild Pines will do? We'll set in motion events we have no control over.
Is this a way of telling me to go and complete all the side quests that I have before doing this? Because this will irreversibly change everything.
You will upset the balance of power in Martinez. The deadlock between the company and the Union will destabilize.
That's assuming this even is a credible suspect. And that we detain her.
Keep calm. Go over the whole situation in detail.
Then again, if we fail to detain her in certain ways, like say we have to shoot her because she in a gunfight or whatever, that might destabilize things even more. Yeah, exactly. It's going over a list of various side quests. that we've acquired.
Definitely. I think she knows something about the mercenaries, maybe. And she won't be around if the situation explodes.
Well, good of the game to actually give me a warning about this stuff. I would have blundered right in. I suddenly remembered. We were running the serial number on the victim's armor.
You think we should finish running it now? Maybe you're right. It might not be as useful later.
It's a minor point. Don't worry too much about this. There are bigger fish.
Like cryptids, for instance. Do you think whatever happens will affect our cryptozoologists?
You mean Lena? I don't see how cryptozoology and the murder investigation are connected. But the situation in the city will get tense for everyone.
I swear, if this is all one big bluff to try and get me to hesitate, and the game world won't actually change like it's saying it will, I'm going to be a little peeved.
If it gets that tense, the amateur zoologists might not be able to do their job.
And that would be a tragedy. How bad do you think things could get?
Well, we are not responsible for what we can't predict, are we? I don't think the entire city will be razed to the ground.
He smiled in the dark. I wouldn't count on it. For all I know, this will kick off the hole in the world to start consuming everything.
Let's try not to worry, he thinks.
Let's try, huh? Does that mean he's failing?
If you can't predict it, there's nothing you could have done.
That's true. You can't have done what you never would have thought to do. People forget that a lot, and that leads to madness. But we can predict a lot of this, can't we? What do you think is waiting for us there? Ruby, I would imagine.
I think I see a cavern. Maybe more cellars? I think we've been careful enough. We still have the element of surprise.
For how much longer, though?
I wouldn't be so sure. You haven't exactly been sneaking.
Or maybe not.
He puts his hand to his holster.
Either way, once we go deeper, there will be no turning back.
Point of no return. I get it. Union and cryptozoology business might end when you do. Might. Might is an interesting word to use here. What does it even mean? Alright then. I'll take your word for it then, Kim. Let's go. It breaks my heart to leave when we were so close. But I know a grave warning when I see it. And I'm not interested in going to the grave just yet. Oh no. Or ever, for that matter, but never mind. Okay. What else is there then? Oh, hi. Hello. How did I not notice you guys? Did I really not come this way? You wouldn't happen to be the cryptozoologist, would you? I'm just saying that because he has some weird looking devices. Are those traps of some kind? Or I don't know what or. Tiny cages, carefully constructed. Yeah. These soggy logs smell of ignition fluid. Still, they won't light. Still, they won't light up. You guys are rubbish at this. These heavy military blockades are riddled with bullet holes, crumbling. The bullet holes are crumbling? Well, I guess. Could this be the buoy Clage told you about? Ooh. Hello.
A metal and plastic contraption bobs up and down amidst the trembling reeds. At first, it just looks like trash, but if you look closer,
you realize that it's advanced trash. Ooh.
That over there must be the boy class you told us about. The one she hid her passport in. We should take a look.
Indeed.
ooh, hidden things, secrets, lies.
Yes, drama. Secrets and lies. Your favorite.
Yes, spindly extremities have been here. Snap the cords keeping the buoy in place. A little longer, and it will be floating somewhere out in the open sea.
What? What do you mean by that, Shivers? Spindly extremities? Has a fucking alien been here? The phasmid, of course. The phasmid that they're searching for. It's what what. Wait, why would it do that? Whatever.
Moves across the water, leaving no traces. You're cold again, as always.
Yes, but who or what is this? The phasmid, clearly, because why wouldn't the Insulindian phasmid, I think that's what it was called, be wandering around here, snapping buoys for no reason? Obviously.
Splendor.
What? What does that even mean? Damn, I felt really strange just now.
Mm-hmm.
No further response. All his concentration is on the contraption. Whatever. Wait. Splendor? Really hope this isn't just some sort of lingering affliction from talking to Klage, because that sounds disturbingly like how the various skills describe Klage. We're lucky it's still here. A little longer and it would have floated away. Would it have? I bet we could have come here days from now and it still would be here. Or maybe not. Maybe I really did get lucky. Well, I would have always combed the coast like this, just to make use of the frozen time. So not that lucky.
Indeed. Let's see what's inside.
The buoy is not tied to anything. The cords dangling from the bottom really have been torn or cut. You lift it out of the water easily, noticing how light it is.
Well, I would imagine. Examine the plastic ball.
The number 11 has been written on the yellow plastic. It hasn't been in the water for very long, but it's already discolored and slimy with silt. A latch holds it close, but only just barely. The brittle metal of the latch has cracked.
Forget it floating away. It might have sunk eventually.
Simple construction. Very unsafe.
Indeed. Shake the boy.
There's something in there, splashing around.
Water, probably. Sniff the boy.
It smells like you would expect it to smell. A concentrated version of the coast. Salt, industrial slop, and decay.
But
The water this side of the peninsula is cleaner. Actually, smells a little salty.
okay. Perception, smell. Why is there a qualifier there? Anyway, open it.
A shot glass's worth of seawater pours out. Some algae. And nothing else.
Well, damn.
You said it, Kim. No documents. Who do you think took them? Assuming they didn't just float away.
I have no idea.
The lieutenant taps his foot, frowning. This is a disaster! Everything is ruined! This is a minor quirk. We know it was in the buoy anyway. Not exact... no is a strong word. Again, Klage was lying about everything. But it's probably closer to the truth than it being a disaster.
Or think we do. This is a small loose end, either way. Not important, I hope.
It must have been Klage's enemies, which means she's in danger. Maybe Klage took them herself. Could this be related to the cryptozoologists and their little expedition? Maybe. They certainly were nosing around a lot. Maybe they stumbled upon it. I've no idea. Do you have any theories, Lieutenant?
Might have been Glacier. Might have been the people after her. Might have been a local drunk. We should go.
Yeah. We may never know. Not because we don't know who it could have been, but because there's way too many people it could have been.
You could ask the miss what she thinks later if you have the time, though you doubt she'll tell you much at this point.
Yeah. Alright. Well, unfortunate, but them's the breaks. Ooh, money. Alright then. On to more fertile ground. Like, who the fuck are you? Why am I going over there to talk to him?
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
Oh, Morel the cryptozoologist. Well, there's that mystery solved. The more I play this game, the more certain I am that this guy has already talked to everyone and learned everything before his... well...
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Hey!
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
I like this guy's voice.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Less a fan of that guy's voice. Gary the crypto-fascist. Well, if I know that, he's not very crypto, now is he? Hi. Or maybe that's just his nickname, I don't know.
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it.
You must be Morel, the cryptozoologist.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
To your wife, I believe.
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
You don't seem too happy to see the RCM. There's a myriad of reasons why that might be.
Oh, no. It's all right. I'm just busy.
Oh.
What's this about?
Ah, fair enough. I was afraid you had some reason to have a grudge or something. No, you're just annoyed at being bothered by the police of all people. That's fair enough. I don't think anyone would want to be drawn in some sort of criminal investigation while they're very busy. Well, maybe some people, but it depends on... Well, Lena sent me. She's been really worried about you and is waiting for you to get back.
Ah, of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken. And we can't go all the way around the 881.
Yeah, that was me. I broke the water lock with my motor carriage, but it's fixed now. You can go back.
You broke the water lock with a motor carriage? But there was a billboard in the canal. Not a vehicle. It said Samaran Butter.
No, see, I jumped over the canal in my motor carriage, tearing through the Samaran Butter sign, which fell into the canal, blocking the gates. I used the pawn shop as a launch ramp.
Why?
He spreads his arm in disbelief. A good question. Not a wise one. Because I'm insane.
Insane? Yes, okay, good.
He quickly comes to terms with it.
But you said the water lock is fixed now. So we can go back.
Good.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Will you actually not be long, though?
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going.
He refastens a bit of netting that has come loose in the wind. Have you tried putting the bait on a buoy? Yeah, that seems to attract them.
For all his passion, this man is diligent and patient. You could learn things from him.
Maybe I could. Maybe if I had been away more often, maybe she wouldn't have... Lena seems pretty eager for you to return.
And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish with these traps.
Hang on. Should put that point I just got into perception, like I said. There we go. That's nice. And then visual calculus, and then some other stuff. Ah, maybe composure.
My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
He looks south, where Lena would be.
Come on, Morale. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
Yeah, you need to get back. Get on back. Get back to where you once belong.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
Lena, that's what it was. You're letting her down as we speak.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Come on. You're doing this for yourself, not her.
I'm doing this for science, and so is she.
Is that right? I didn't know the phasmid was so important to Lena. So important that the slim possibility that you might find it on this one last round, if this even is one last round, is more important to her than you returning at long last.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it.
What?
A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers.
Pardon? I don't believe she's told me that. She told me that someone saw it, that's why they came here, but that's interesting.
She's seen it?
Really? She's sighted the phasmid. Sighted? She didn't tell me that.
Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine.
Needless to say, you must ask her about the mysterious phasmid.
Indeed. It is needless to say. Don't know why you said it.
Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
Maybe you could go back to the whirling, warm up, come back to check the traps later.
No, no, no. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
And what if the phasmid were to be eaten by some predator while it's trapped in one of your traps between your schedule? Anything could happen. Doesn't mean it's an excuse to not live your life.
He's dead set on this.
Yeah. Could ask him about the suspect. I doubt he'll know anything about it. And also, well, I'm pretty sure we've already found her, but sure, let's see what he says.
I'm afraid not, officer. I've been busy digging around in the reeds for days, looking for signs of insect activity. I'm less interested in mammalian concerns, to be perfectly honest.
The lieutenant takes a short note in his notebook, then gestures for you to proceed.
Alright. Tell me about this phasmid you're looking for.
Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find.
No shit.
Which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it.
I believe that's the very definition of a cryptid. If they were easy to find, or even just moderately difficult to find, they wouldn't be cryptids. But what makes it so difficult to find?
Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there?
True enough. But
And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators or scientists in our present case.
Indeed. I suspected as much. What sorts of specialized techniques is the Phasmid using to hide itself?
It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex.
That's concerning. That's very concerning. Are you telling me that the Phasmid could be going around drugging people? That is extremely concerning. Bloody hell, for all I know, the shooter might not have even known what the fuck it was doing. Might have thought it was completely confusing the visual cortex and all that, impeding pattern recognition. Could have thought the thing he was shooting was fucking anything. Let alone how this could have contributed to my fucking spiral. I mean, yeah, I was spiraling to begin with, but it only got this horrifically bad when I arrived here. Maybe that's a coincidence. Maybe. Who knows what else these electrochemical defenses might be interfering with. Who knows what they could be responsible for. Suffice it to say that this cryptid investigation just got a lot more relevant to the case.
But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen.
Well, a dead specimen you could probably get fairly far with too, but...
Yes, it makes perfect sense. You're beginning to suspect there's something paranatural about this Phasmid. A ghost insect, he said? These people are looking for a ghost.
I think they're speaking metaphorically there, but sure, ghost insect. So you're ghost hunters. This might very well piss them off.
No, that is precisely what we're not.
Yeah.
We are zoological specialists, looking for an extant species of Phasmid.
Well, at least you didn't blow up at me. Anyway, how big is this Phasmid?
I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of Phasmid, called the Megaphasmodeozoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So,
I'm not familiar with that. I don't think it's actually a real thing outside of Disco Elysium. Fair enough. Why are you so interested in this stick bug? Doesn't seem to be as colorful as some of the other cryptids I've heard about. It's a bit rude, but alright.
typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for.
I suppose they are.
Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian Phasmid would be the apex of of any cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defences, find out how it stayed hidden so long.
He shakes his head. What have you discovered about it so far?
Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts.
So, no one's ever found one? Yeah, I believe that's the very definition of a cryptid.
Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Yeah, exactly.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
Well, they don't. That's why they're here.
I know it's real.
Oh. The cryptozoologist says, brusquely enough that even he seems taken aback by it. Huh.
It's clear that his obsession with the Phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
Indeed. I mean, a lot of science is, but is it just a matter of wanting to prove that his wife isn't crazy or something? Or maybe just the glory of uncovering it? or any number of other reasons.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition.
Lena said there has been a sighting of it here in Martinez.
Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore.
In several decades? Does that include her sighting of it? That might go some way to explaining why you're so obsessed with it, because you've been searching for it for decades. Or maybe there was something to that sighting beyond merely seeing it in passing. Did it do something to her? You have mentioned, well, maybe the Insulindian phasmid has died out?
I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
Asexual reproduction, huh? Yeah, that is more common in invertebrates than vertebrates. Although I assume there's more to the idea than just that.
He means asexual reproduction.
I know.
The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
True. Of course, it also makes them less genetically resilient, but that's why a lot of creatures that can asexually reproduce don't have to. Sexual reproduction is often also a viable method of reproducing for such creatures. Asexual reproduction usually creates not quite a clone usually, although it sometimes can, but something with a lot less genetic difference. Now bananas are a plant that reproduces asexually through vegetative propagation. That's what it was called. So new plants develop from the offshoots of the parent plant, and this creates genetically identical offspring, as in actual proper clones, unlike a lot of asexual reproduction methods like parthenogenesis and what have you. And the consequences of this are very interesting, because there's been a lot of issues in the past that come about as a direct result of this incredible genetic similarity. But that's getting way too far into the weeds. That's pretty clever. I mean, I wouldn't call it clever. It's a result of evolutionary paths taking it in various directions and all that, and I would be remiss in ascribing concepts like cleverness to evolutionary processes. Evolution is already far too anthropomorphized as it is. Because ultimately, evolution is, I guess you could describe it as a blind idiot god. Or an invisible idiot, for that matter. I've heard it said that if Darwin was truly earnestly looking for the ineffable face of God, then he would have realized that in evolution, he found it. But never mind.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I'll try my best to remain dispassionate. Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick.
Now see, that's something that makes sense to describe as clever. Lena designed the traps, did she? Just Lena? Or did you both contribute to them and you're just being humble.
Yes.
He says with some pride. Okay, that doesn't tell me which it is, but alright. How do the traps work?
Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can get back out.
Locusts? You mean grasshoppers? Anyway, I'm not quite certain that makes sense, but alright.
At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton.
What are you using as bait?
Locusts.
At least that's what
Nearly
he said.
all known phasmids are herbivores, of course. But we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
I mean, yeah, the vast majority of herbivores are opportunistic carnivores. Or I guess opportunistic omnivores, but never mind. Still, odd to bank on that. Could you not have found some tempting vegetation?
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm.
Again, do you mean grasshoppers, or what are you talking about?
A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
You'd be surprised what sort of things creatures will munch down on if they have half a chance. Still.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps to satiate your skepticism.
Okay, fair enough then.
Not a big fan of skepticism, this one.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. What will you do if these traps don't work? Die, that's what.
They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We have given this some thought.
So, what you're saying is you have no plan for if this doesn't work. Alright. Let me ask you about something else.
Yes. What?
How did you become a cryptozoologist?
I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both.
Fair enough.
He seems reluctant to talk about himself, but he'll open up, if you prod a little.
So you're living your childhood dream out here.
It's not child's play. Just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often.
Hey, I wasn't insulting. Most people would love to live out their childhood dream. Most people don't get a chance. Why not just be a zoologist? Real animals are puzzling too. This one might get him to blow up at me.
Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does.
Honestly, being a cryptozoologist trumps most of the garbage I've seen people do. Like drugs.
My methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen.
I guess. And has anything truly surprising ever happened to you? Whatever that means.
No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid. Although I have come close.
That didn't.
Close enough to keep trying.
That sure didn't match the subtitles at all, but alright.
Interesting. Something for later.
Why'd you
This close call.
twice? I'm not certain why I can't talk about it right now, but alright. What kinds of evidence do you use?
Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the phasmid. I keep a very open mind.
A fortress with its gate unbarred and unguarded.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
What? That's a... What? That feels like some sort of garden path sentence. What? I don't understand the grammar there. He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't. Don't what? Oh, that people believe that scientists don't. But scientists... That doesn't make any sense either. Scientists are people. What? This is just a really poorly worded sentence. Okay. You think other scientists don't listen to ordinary people enough? You could have just said that conceptualization or something along those lines instead of being this ridiculous garden path sentence that only half makes sense even when you realize what it means.
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot, and both the field and basement archives can be dangerous places.
What people call cowardly is more often simply a person putting more value on their time than you do. But never mind. So you've never discovered a cryptid?
No. Very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid.
Indeed. So how many cryptids have been found?
Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes.
Oh, that's impressive. Half the list, or near enough as makes no difference, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Goddamn. How'd they manage that? Well, just by that metric, they're doing good work. Busting myths left and right. Good stuff. It's good to have a actual organization with evidence and shit that you can point to when claiming that something is a hoax. There's far too many hoaxes out there that are legitimately confirmed hoaxes that people still believe because, well, nobody's bothering to actually keep track and actually finding the evidence of them being genuine hoaxes, which sounds a bit silly, but never mind, is a pain in the ass. I should know. So yeah, that alone justifies their existence.
2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection.
Only 2 have proven to be real. Well, proven by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney, anyway. I'm sure there were creatures thought to be myths or cryptids or what have you that were proven to be true long before the society itself was even founded. A good story in real life about that is the gorilla, for instance. A better example, perhaps, would be the Komodo dragon. So, depending on how long the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney has been around, that might be a pretty good record.
Yes, the Chateau Quan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Grad, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere.
Ah, tragic. Extinct and unremarkable. You hate to see it. Oh well.
We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves. More so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching.
Again, subtitles didn't quite match that. Nod approvingly. Then the Insulindian phasmid will be the 3rd. And I'm gonna find it and steal the glory right out from under you.
Indeed.
He does not smile, just looks you in the eye. It's a forceful gaze.
If our expedition is successful, every paper in the world will report on it. From Revachol to Dushantu. It will be a zoological miracle.
Well, lucky for you, I'm in the business of miracles.
The hair on your arms stand up. Electricity. Sounds like reeds hissing.
It's right behind me, Shivers, isn't it?
He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion.
Alright, thanks for explaining that.
Yes?
Let's talk about specific cryptids.
Alright. What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what.
Hey, I'm pretty special.
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it. You need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you've heard about from Lena or his friend Gary. He won't just talk.
Obviously. Just tell me about a cool cryptid. Any cryptid. Yeah, sure. Which cryptid did you almost catch? You said that before. That you almost caught one.
A willow person. It's a long story. One non-specialists would find rather dull.
Try me.
Willow people? Not at all.
Besides, I'm a cop. I'm used to paying keen attention to boring stories. What are willow people?
They're not people, really. Some
never thought
argue
that.
they aren't really animals, as they seem to have evolved directly from trees.
He says it in a self-explanatory, everyday manner. Oh, right, naturally.
They're very, very thin, almost flat in fact, and can camouflage themselves easily, wrapping themselves around trees and blending in with the tree bark. In that way, they're not too dissimilar from the phasmid we're looking for here.
Wait, so I may have seen these willow people without knowing it?
You probably have.
I mean, I might have seen the tree bark undulate, but that was probably because I was drunk and high and stoned at the same time. How did you almost catch a willow person?
Gary and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow-drying paint. It was a bright lavender colour. I was hoping one of the willow people would get paint on it and not be able to camouflage itself.
Nice. Did it work? I would have thought that they'd probably notice it, but maybe.
After waiting in hiding for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees, a lavender shadow, dashing through the grove.
And then?
I chased it with a net. Not very elegant. You can't be elegant in the field. And, well, it was faster than me.
Okay.
A lavender shadow.
He smirks. Yeah. My thoughts exactly, Kim. That's not the most... well...
I know you think we were snacking on funny mushrooms. It's easier to mock someone than to admit that the world might be more interesting than you've imagined.
No. I don't think you were snacking on funny mushrooms. I just think that some random bozo, or maybe some random animal, I don't know. I haven't heard any reason to believe that it was one of these willow people, rather than anything else. It's not the most descriptive of, well, descriptions.
Furthermore, I'm not saying it was a confirmed sighting. I'm painfully aware of what goes into verifying such things. There is a serious possibility that I saw a squirrel or a trick of the light. I am my own harshest critic.
Yeah, indeed.
He makes it a real point here to sound falsifiable.
To sound, indeed. It's very important for these sorts of people to have the appearance of that sort of thing. And Lena's sighting of the phasmid, is that...
Confirmed.
He replies quickly.
It's 100% verified and meets all the standards of an authentic cryptid sighting.
For whatever that means. I know about the most dangerous cryptid, the Gnome of Droma.
Formerly the most dangerous, yes.
Huh?
But do you know the most dangerous living cryptid?
Dare
He
I
doesn't
ask?
want to make it feel like you knowing it is some big deal.
That must be the evil apes duking it out on the giant ball.
The what?
The evil apes. I suspect I may be one myself.
Oh, you're just talking about humans. Well, yes. We are quite dangerous, but we're hardly cryptids.
He corrects his hat and says, as if it's the most sensible thing in the world.
The most dangerous cryptid is a carnivorous ruminant, known colloquially as the dread moose.
Oh. Of course. The dread moose. I mean, moosin are pretty dangerous, I'll admit. As far as that sort go.
Yes, the dread moose subsists entirely on flesh. It has even been known to dig up fresh graves in search of sustenance.
Hold on. Does it also attack people? Well, if it didn't, probably wouldn't be considered the most dangerous cryptid.
Human remains have been found deep in the forest, torn apart, then trampled into the mulch by large hooves. Infer from that what you will.
Okay, I will. What does the dread moose look like?
Just like an ordinary ardent moose.
Then how can you tell if it's the ordinary or dread kind?
You can't. That's what makes it so dreadful and hard to identify.
You're taking the piss, Morale. Come on.
A moose that looks like any other moose. What's going on here? He's kidding, right?
I'm not completely sure about this dread moose.
The bodies found in the forest are just one piece of physical evidence. There's more.
Okay, what's the other evidence? It better be good. It better be real fucking good.
The recent surge in the moose population has hidden carnivores. The dread moose are effectively removing competition for both themselves and their evolutionary cousins.
What? You're taking the piss. You have to be. Come on. I'm willing to play along with a lot of cryptid shit, but come on. This is just brazenly stupid. What the fuck is this shit? Dread moose that just so happen to look exactly like regular moose but are totally different creatures and a real cryptid? Fuck off. You're taking the piss. So frankly, I think this is almost certainly just some people at some point pissed off some moosin and got trampled to death for it. Because they're fucking big and powerful, and some people are stupid enough to get themselves killed by them. And then those remains got eaten away at by other animals, and people saw the devoured bodies and the moose prints on them and assumed that the moose ate them or whatever. Or hell, we've already discussed that herbivorous creatures are often opportunistic carnivores. Maybe just a random normal moose ate a guy. Who knows? But sure, okay, what, in your opinion, is the relationship between carnivorous moose and regular moose?
The carnivorous moose are a very young species.
Oh, of course they are.
The result of a genetic mutation that fared well in the process of natural selection.
Yes, I'm aware of how evolution works.
It makes sense that such a majestic animal with natural weapons, antlers, would come to rule the forest. The only strange thing is that it took so long.
That's not how anything works, Morale. There was not one part of that whole paragraph that was anywhere close to how anything works, you dumb bastard. Anyway, but why would it need to hide its carnivorous nature?
Moose are already being hunted for sport. Can you imagine what would happen if they came to be viewed as predators?
The real question is, how the fuck would it know to hide it? Are there any reliable eyewitness accounts of a moose killing other animals for food?
One slaughterhouse at the outskirts of the woods in Vasa reported that its staff kept seeing moose in the distance.
Really? That's what you're leading with? Yeah, this isn't going to be productive.
The moose would just stare at the building, as though they were waiting for something. Its eyes bloodshot and full of cruelty.
Come on. I'm not sure I'm buying it. In fact, I'm pretty certain I'm not.
But that's not all.
Oh.
Some of the slaughterhouse apprentices went hiking by a nearby creek and saw a moose nibbling on an unidentified carcass.
Okay. So? That's not that unusual.
This isn't something unique. Various species of deer have been known to scavenge when plant food is scarce.
Yeah, exactly, Encyclopedia. Yeah, it's such an obvious idea that I only needed like 2 points in Encyclopedia for it to chime in about that. Yeah. Come on. Come on. What the fuck is this shit? You're only making it worse on yourself, Morale.
Anyway,
Oh.
there is more than enough evidence to justify a thorough search for the Dread Moose.
What?
Let's close the subject before it turns into an argument.
That's it? That's the more than enough evidence? I thought you were... I mean, I was not exact... I mean, I didn't exactly have high hopes for the sort of evidence you would have had when you led with that. But that's all? Come on. You've gotta be taking the piss.
Here is a man who has had more than his fair share of heated arguments and would, surprising as it may seem, prefer not to have any more.
Also, how the fuck does this qualify as the most dangerous cryptid? Or the most dangerous living cryptid, anyway. I mean, yeah, a moose is a pretty dangerous animal, but... Come on. Surely there are more dangerous cryptids. But okay, alright. I know the biggest cryptid, the Giant of Coconur.
That's impressive, I guess. But have you seen it with your own eyes?
He does not seem that impressed. Have you seen it?
I haven't had a chance to travel to Coconur. No, and I likely never will. The Samaskill desert region has been embroiled in a small civil war for the last 8 years.
Yeah, that would put a damper into things.
I fear this mindless barbarism may have wiped out the elusive creature entirely. Sightings of towering luminosities have grown rare recently, while they once used to be constant.
Or, and hear me out here, people don't have time to report on random mirages when there's a war going on. Because they have actually important things to worry about.
Yes, sightings of mirages are constant. A mirage is a constant phenomenon that people have no time to report when a war is going on.
Exactly, Logic.
It remains unclear what this has got to do with you seeing it, as he was inquiring before. He was just being defensive.
I know about Cryobacter catlensis. I'm surprised there's no option to talk about the Coldimamadakwa, considering I have that thought internalized.
Oh, everyone knows about that one, thanks to Professor Mijanu being the talk of the town for a time.
He coughs in his fist. Surprised there's no coughing sound. Whatever.
Although, probably because her life ended as a result of her work in Gutler, no one remembers her contributions to the search for the Nong-Ok.
The Nong-Ok?
A flightless cursor owl found in the Seminine Isles. Its long legs permit the Nong-Ok to run faster than any other avian. Perhaps any other animal. Who knows?
I don't know what a cursor owl is, but alright. Any other animal, huh? That seems like you're jumping the gun a bit there. Avians aren't exactly known for their incredible land speed. Huh.
When it's not hunting its prey in this manner, the hawk hangs from tree branches, like a bat, waiting to dive on hapless prey below on the jungle floor. Mijanu liked extreme animals, you see. One of the few figures of the academic establishment I respect. Really a shame she disappeared.
When did she disappear? You said her life ended, but now you're saying she disappeared? What happened to her?
Oh, decades ago. In the 30s. I didn't know her personally, of course. The chasm of academic pretension still stood before us, even though she had unusual courage for someone from the other side.
What you call courage, I'm sure they would call gullibility. Or lack of respect for the scientific method. Just tell me about a cool cryptid. Any cryptid.
No offense, officer, but I'm not much of a pedagogue. I don't know what I would have done if Lena hadn't persuaded me to go back to field research. You should ask her if you want interesting stories. Me? I'm not a people person, unless you haven't noticed. And I don't make a good lecturer. My strength lies in field work and persistence.
He brushes an errant strand of hair from his eye. So you are a people person if I haven't noticed? Anyway.
By all means.
What if we check... What if we checked the traps for you? I'm sure this will go over great with Kim.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer.
He looks at you with obvious surprise. Cryptozoology and detective work are very similar. We're looking for someone hiding on this very coast. Looking for another thing may lead us to her. I'm pretty sure we've already found her, right? Chaos is my method. I am its scion. Oh yeah. Also, I have literally all the time in the world. And this might give me extra XP. Anyway.
Well, be that as it may, I'd really appreciate the help.
He doesn't know what to say. I have that effect on people. Where are these traps?
There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church.
Alright. Good to know where Land's End is, then, since I'm gonna have to investigate there anyway.
The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them...
He gestures to the trap in front of him.
You should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it.
Yeah.
This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
Well, maybe. But as Aha once put it, it's no better to be safe than sorry.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture?
Hey, you're the one that said we should clear up all the loose ends first. What? Aren't you having fun?
Even relative to examining a weak old corpse, I'm not sure mucking about in the reeds qualifies as fun. But have it your way, detective.
Ha! Where's your sense of adventure?
If you think it's important, you have been right before.
Indeed I have. And if this thing really is going around drugging people, oh yes, this could be very important to the case and just in general. What do I do if there's a phasmid in one of the traps?
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
Alright. Are you sure you wouldn't rather me to bring you to it?
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
Imagine a fucking detective swooping in and claiming credit for the biggest cryptozoology find ever. That would be a fucking lark. What if I encounter the phasmid in the wild?
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do,
He takes out a small white spray can.
I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed.
I hope that won't cause it to mate with me.
It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
Lay it on me. Vic, present your armpit. He douses you with an odd-smelling spray, a double helping as you present your other armpit, and then gives you a satisfied nod. Alright. Hopefully this won't cause everyone to go running away from me as soon as I approach.
This is the smell of dying reeds, of longing crumbling into the water.
So probably not that different from the place around me. The lieutenant wrinkles his nose.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
He looks at the lieutenant with disdain, then puts the spray back in his pocket. Wait, 50 real for one dose, as in the dose that you just gave me? So how much for the whole can, then? I really don't understand the economy in this. Whatever. I'm ready. Let's get to it.
Right. Which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Whatever he thinks about this detour, it's clear that these men are exhausted and in need of assistance.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
What about his eager-to-leave friend Gary there? Talk to him too, perhaps.
Obviously. Alright. Alright then. One chance to talk to them then. Here, anyway. Well, this has already gotten long enough, and, well, there is a small chance that I will actually find the Elysium phasmid on my rounds, which might create a very lengthy diversion, so... Alright, we'll cap it off here. Next time, we'll talk to this bozo, and maybe uncover the cryptozoological find of the ever, really. And, you know, maybe investigate the possible places where the shooter might have been. Little things like that along our way. And then, after that, I guess we'll just continue doing our rounds, do everything we possibly can. That would be a good idea anyway, and maybe some that wouldn't be. And then, finally, once there's nothing left to do in this frozen moment, then we sleep. And then, at long last, our shopping spree can begin. So until then, I have been Joe Bob, and I'm very peeved. And remember, dislike the video, unsubscribe if you're for some reason subscribed, and leave a nasty comment in the comment section down below. Fuck you all so much for watching, and so long, suckers.